commence will be the most interesting race of the 1972 Warwick Farm International meeting. Will be the series production touring car race, the second round of the South Pacific Touring Car Series. This will be over 34 laps of the circuit, a total of 76.5 miles, and it's going to be a very intense battle between the Holden Torana XU1, car 36 on the front line of the grid. That's Colin Bond. Doug Chivas in the Chrysler Charger next to him on the front line. Then on the second line, on the inside, Alan Moffat, the Ford GTHO, and on his outside, car 37, Peter Brock in the XU1. So with these four drivers and other drivers in the field, it's going to be a battle royal between these three makes of series production cars: the Chrysler Chargers, the Holden XU1s, and the Ford GTHOs.
Well, you can see that Colin Bond's got the jump in one of the new XU1s, and thrusting up from the second row of the grid into second place is a very determined Alan Moffat. He's already displaced the white Charger of Doug Chivas, and down the straight I'd say we might see the V8 power starting to perhaps make some impression on the little green Torana. And there's Bond tucked over on the gate shutters line on the inside, Moffat ranging up on the outside and having to brake much sooner, it would appear. Bond asserting his lead as they whistle down in the creek for the first time.
While this is occurring, we might mention that in the first round of the series touring car series in Brisbane, Leo Gagan won the race after Alan Moffat had the lead and quite a handy lead too, with a lap to go before he blew a tyre on the last lap, and so Leo Gagan was able to win the first round in the Chrysler Charger. But at the moment, where we can see Colin Bond in the Holden Torana XU1 out in front of Alan Moffat, who drew the second line of the grid but very quickly got along on the inside to take up second spot. Warwick Farm, we're moving along now to the causeway, which is the bridge between the two watering lakes here, and we see that the Torana driver has a handy lead over Moffat, with Chivas in the Chrysler in third place.
Yes, well, through the twisty section you can see that Chivas has managed to stay with Moffat, but Bond has managed to get somewhat clear.
That's a very interesting point, because it would seem to most people that the more powerful cars would have the greater advantage, but that's not necessarily so. If we look at the lap record times for this class of vehicle, the lap record for a series production car with a capacity of in excess of 5,000 cc's is held by Fred Gibson in a Ford GTHO, a time of 1:48.8. However, the outright lap record for this class of car is 1:48.2, and that's held by Colin Bond, who we see leading the field here in the Torana XU1. So the smaller Torana, with a smaller engine capacity and therefore a less power output, has a better time over the circuit than the larger engine Ford.
Well, you can chuck a Torana around, and at the Warwick Farm circuit you need to be able to do this. There's a lot of multiple cornering sections like the S's here. Bond is having a relatively easy time. Not that it's easy, but compared to Alan Moffat's ride, he's somewhat an advantage here. Moffat, you can see, is clipping apexes, really driving the car very hard to try to stay with Bond.
Just had the first lap positions come through. Colin Bond, as we see, leading Alan Moffat, with Doug Chivas in third place in the Chrysler. In fourth place, car 33, Leo Gagan, also in a Valiant Charger. Then followed by Peter Brock in the XU1, and in sixth place, Alan Moffat off the course, but back onto the circuit now. And in sixth place, John Goss in a GTHO.
Third place, Doug Chivas, highest place in the Chargers. Doing a very nice job of pointing the car around the many corners in Warwick Farm. These Chargers are a magic thing in a straight line. Make a magnificent six-cylinder noise, but they're not the happy tail-out kind of car that a GTHO is or that a Torana is. And you'll find that Chivas is working pretty hard to make the beast change direction.
Graham, these Chargers are fitted with only a 3-speed gearbox, whereas the GTHOs and Toranas have a 4-speed forward box. Now, does that mean that because of the less variation in acceleration and deceleration, that these cars would not be as well suited to this track as the others?
The gearing of the Chrysler with only 3 gears is explained by Chrysler as the fact that their gearbox has only second, third and top. It has a very tall first gear, and in fact this can be quite useful. A long first gear can take you, say, up to I'd say in the case of a Charge, up to about 55-60 miles an hour in first gear. Very useful for getting off the line, because it means that you can just hang on to first gear for a long time, and you may be able to shake people off at the start of the race.
One of the several Toranas in the team, Peter Brock, Colin Bond and the Holden Dillard team Torana. There are actually 4 of the Holden Dillard team Toranas in this particular race. That's one of them. Car 37 is in 5th place. Never mind, Colin Bond going easily in front, Alan Moffat in 2nd place, Doug Chivas in 3rd place in the Charger. But look at Bond streaking to the bottom of Hume Straight. This is where he really starts to accelerate. In fact, he's being chased by Moffat now as Moffat comes up Hume Straight behind him. And there's Bond braking very tightly for Creek Corner. Slows down to about 30-35 miles an hour as he goes through the entire 180-degree turn. Under Shell Bridge and into the northern crossing, where the speed will get up to about 80-95 miles an hour. Into the northern crossing, first car followed by the second car in Moffat and Chivas, and then
in 4th place there is the second of the dealer team cars. That's the Victorian Peter Brock.
So no change in the order after the first 4 laps. Bond leading from Moffat, Chivas and Brock. For this class of race is 1:48.2, held by Colin Bond in the XU1, but that is the outright time and also the time for cars in his particular class. However, the larger cars, which are over 5 litres in capacity, the record stands at 1:48.8, held by Fred Gibson. And we've just had word that Alan Moffat has broken that record for the cars over 5 litres. Gibson's time 1:48.8, and on the third